Welcome back.
This YouTuber live streamed himself drilling into an alleged extraterrestrial object. And what happens next, most users will find extremely unsettling.
No, I'm sorry.
The YouTuber known as James claimed to have found the mysterious metallic cylinder in the desert near Las Vegas, Nevada in November 2025. The object, which had unusual engravings, looks very identical to the Bugis spear. During the live stream, as he is drilling into the object, a blue light appears to beam in the reflection before James turns around and sees some sort of portal being opened. The live stream continues as James reportedly suffered a sudden medical emergency, possibly a seizure or something worse, after which the screen goes dark, with sudden flashes of light shown randomly over the remainder of the live stream. The live stream ended abruptly, and there has been no confirmed update on James's condition or whereabouts since.
By the looks of it, Mr. Jim must not know the story of the Demon Core and the strange unaliving of Louis Slotin. If you remember, Slotin was tickling the dragon's tail and the core went super critical. Instead of running, Slotin flipped over the dome off the core with his bare hands, stopping the reaction and shielding 7 other scientists in the room. Unfortunately, one other physician, Harry Dalian, suffered the same fate. Also, there's the story of Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan podcast, basically saying he thinks the former scientists on S4 were trying to cut into the reactor with a plasma cutter, unfortunately met their demise. Let's break down Mr. James' video. The first thing I noticed was the Milwaukee drill was not set up to the hammer drill position. For strong metals, you need that extra boom boom. The second thing I noticed was the regular Harbor Freight high-strength steel drill bit he was basically using. For anyone that works with metals knows that the boron or ultra high-strength steel self-tapping bits is best to use when you have a tough substrate. Then I noticed he was more worried in placing his drill safely in the stand before he magically fainted like a Justin Bieber fan. All the way in the far end, you can basically see a light stand. One of the things that I noticed also was the uneven graving design, most likely caused by a Sears engraver. If you know, you know. You can also see the non-scratch resistant on his fun toy. We can safely say it was fake. Even he admitted it was a hoax. By the looks of it, he suffered the wrath of social media and didn't know how to capitalize his moment, losing a good opportunity to grow his account. Tisk tisk. I'll stamp this, Mikey.
You were never supposed to wash your body with chemicals. Did you know that? Well, here's why they made you. For most of human history, people bathed using what the earth provided, nothing more. Ancient Africans washed with black soap, plant ash, herbs. Egyptians bathed with natron, honey, essential oils. The Greeks used olive oil and clay. Indigenous healers around the world used herbal infusions like lavender, turmeric, neem. Plants were chosen because they soothed, they protected, they nourished the skin. But everything changed in the 20th century. In 1916, the first fully synthetic detergent was created. Not for wellness, not for skincare, but because World War I created a huge shortage of natural fats. The same fats used to make real soap. Countries needed these oils for food, fuel, even explosives. So scientists were told to invent a way to clean without nature. And they did. After the war, big companies realized something. Synthetic detergents were cheap, easy to mass produce, easy to fragrance, easy to patent. By the 1950s, marketing companies took over. Companies stopped focusing on what soap was made of and started focusing on how it could appear cleaner, stronger, and even more modern. So people didn't end up choosing better soap, they chose stronger advertising. And just like that, chemical bars replaced real soap in nearly every store. Not because they were better, but because they were, you guessed it, more profitable. And the impact hit us quietly because most commercial soap today isn't even soap, it's detergent. the same kind of synthetic cleaners used in laundry products. Sulfates don't just take off dirt, they strip your skin's natural oils, leaving it dry, irritated, and unprotected. Parabens don't just absorb, they act like fake estrogen in the body. And when something imitates your hormones, it can throw your whole system off. And synthetic fragrance is the biggest loophole. Companies can hide hundreds of chemicals under that one word with zero FDA regulation. But the truth is, your skin was always meant to be in a relationship with the earth. It recognizes plants, it responds to herbs, it heals with nature because we're made from these same elements. As for me, I actually use soap by a company called Urban Eden. I've known the founders for several years now. I actually watched them go from the ground up. I've been to their warehouse. I've seen how they make their products. I know and trust what they put into their bars. Real herbs, real oils, real botanicals. They also have a huge, amazing variety. If you want to check them out for yourself, or maybe a gift for somebody else, comment the word herb and I'll send you a link to get 10% off all their products. Peace.
Have you ever noticed the ingredients on your soap?
Oh my god.
No? Looks like Tetris level 80. By now, there's a lot of videos showing how to make natural soap. No excuses. What was that? You don't have time? No problem. Here you go. Enjoy. You're probably telling yourself it's too expensive, right? Well, tell me something that you recently purchased that is not necessary, that costs more than this. Is it a phone? A game? Lunch? Coffee? Or what about that gym membership? Do you even go? It looks like your priorities are unique to yourself. I wish you well. I'll stamp this. Listen. I love this. I think Yondu would have been proud. Is it possible that weapons have this concept already? On the positive side, why is this important? Well, imagine being able to change directions of something just with sound. What are some possible benefits for humanity? The Rest is Science podcast says targeting kidney stones is one. Medical advancements target drug delivery that can create a microbubble loaded with specific drug and target the problem area. That's number 2. Number 3 is basically internal navigation. Pill-sized camera or surgical micro robots could be guided through the digestive system or the bloodstream to perform precise tasks without invasive surgery. That's a good one for us. But in the hands of hombres malos, that's a no bueno. Here are a few more. Some good, some questionable. Can you guess the color? I'll stamp this in process.
If you look at the last sentence in the first paragraph, it says, the Thor missile was used to lift warheads into near space to conduct high-altitude nuclear explosion tests. These shots were collectively called Operation Fishbowl. So what happened was the government, when they started making missiles that were powerful enough that they thought they could break through the sea of glass, they, during the Cold War, used the Cold War as a tactic for exploding high-altitude missiles to try and break through what they already knew was the dome on the Earth. And actually what happens, if you read the rest of the article, these missiles would hit up at a certain altitude, and then light would shine all the way to the other hemisphere. And the reason that was is because they were hitting that glass, and the glass was reflecting it all the way across the sky. It's not some globe Earth where they're just trying. Why would they just shoot a missile in the air to see how high it can blow up? Like, are they just playing with rubber bands? Like, they're doing it for a reason, and they called it Operation Fishbowl for a reason.
What are these used for? Absorb energy, right? What will happen if we try to do underwater testing? Like this. Nothing, just a big mess. So this means we cannot pass through the firmament. Lucy, you have some explaining to do. Like my sensei used to say, be like Wata. Or, if you cannot beat them, join them. You won't be able to pass that firmament if you don't become Wata. Is that right, Mr. Edgar Casey? I'll stamp this. Not smart.
Got 3 flashlights here, a blue one, a green one, and a red one. And as you can see, when their beams all combine, you get white light. And if you take a piece of paper with a slit in it, and you block those beams, you can decompose that white light back into its constituent parts, red, green, and blue. Now this is something really cool. If you take something that casts a shadow, it's actually going to cast 3, a cyan, a magenta, and a yellow shadow. And if I allow each of those shadows to pass over the slit, you're going to see that they block out only their complementary color.
Allegedly, the color purple doesn't exist. And allegedly, people imagine the pencil is the sunglasses and the slotted paper being a human eye. Do sunglasses block full spectrum light? Google says yes. High quality sunglasses block 100% of UVA and UVB rays up to 400 nanometers, and typical filters about 75 to 90% of visible light. While UV protection is consistent, visible light reduction varies by tint. And specialized lenses, like Cat 4, can block 90% of extreme brightness. Is full spectrum beneficial for the human body? Allegedly, full spectrum light mimics natural light, improving human health by supporting circadian rhythm, increasing vitamin D synthesis, boosting mood, reducing stress, enhancing cognitive awareness. It often acts as a treatment for seasonal affect disorder, in short, SAD, and can improve sleep quality, reduce eye strains, and boost energy levels. So, no Red Bull needed. The 2 important ones is circadian rhythm and vitamin D synthesis. Let's look at circadian rhythm first. Circadian rhythm is the body's internal 24-hour biological clock, regulating the sleep-wake cycle, hormone release, digestion, and body temperature. In other words, no light, you will get sleepy. It controls more than sleep. It influences appetite, immune response, and metabolism. When the internal clock is misaligned with the external environment, due to factors like jet lag, shift work, blue lights from phones, it can result in serious health issues. Now let's look at vitamin D. The active hormone, calcitriol, is vital for managing calcium phosphorus levels in the body, ensuring healthy bones mineralization, and supporting the immune system. No wonder people at work or school feel tired. Made you yawn. I wonder what type of bowls people have in their homes. Do you know? Mama, we got some recycling to do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I'll stamp this. Listen, Linda, listen. On to the next.
Black noise. Yeah. Black noise is something that Burroughs got very interested in. It's
intriguing.
Well, no, it's one facet of black noise is that everything, like a glass, if an opera singer hits a particular note, the vibrations are that of the metabolism of the glass, and it cracks it. Yeah. So black noise is the register within which you can crack a city or people, or it's a new controlled bomb. It's a noise bomb, in fact, which can destroy.
Is it a real thing? I mean, is it something that somebody's experimenting with?
In France.
Could a tyrant use it to...
Well, until last year, you could buy the patent for it in the French patent office for about equivalent to $3-4.
And it would wipe out it's concentrated...
It depends how much money you put into it. I mean, a small one could probably kill about half the people, but a big one could destroy a city, or even more. I mean,
it's a radio tomography with 30 watts, looking for oil in the ground. I found 26 oil wells over a 9-state area, and 100% of the time was accurate with just 30 watts of power beaming straight into solid rock. HARP uses 1 billion watts beamed straight into the ionosphere for experiments. Picture these strings on the piano as layers of the earth. Each one has its own frequency. What we used to do is beam radio waves into the ground, and it would vibrate any strings that were present in the ground. We might get a sound back like, and we'd say, that's natural gas. We might get a sound back like, and we say that's crude oil. We were able to identify each frequency. We accomplished this with just 30 watts of radio power. If you with 1 billion watts, the vibrations are so violent that the entire piano would shake. In fact, the whole house would shake. In fact, the vibrations could be so severe underground that could even cause an earthquake.
Can sound be used as a weapon? The short answer is yes, but the full answer requires a little bit more history first. During the Cold War, many countries were throwing money at researchers to find new ways to cause damage to others. In France, in 1957, a research group was formed and led by Dr. Vladimir. The team was given full access to the building, full of equipment and living quarters. The main attraction in the laboratory was the infrasonic generator. This baffling bit of a kit reassembles a giant referee whistle and was encased in concrete. Infrasonic sounds are so low in frequency that humans' ear cannot hear. Like soundless gas, this can make them troublesome when handling. Vladimir had experienced the potential dangers of these silent sound waves before, but that didn't stop a few close calls from happening when investigating them so thoroughly. Due to the fact that sound is undetectable by the ear, there were many instances of the machine being left on without anyone realizing it. By the end of the experimental period, every member of the group had suffered either from nausea or pain in the eyes, ears, or even internal organs. After the infrasonic generator caused a few local earthquakes and demolished the building it was housed in several times, Vladimir's conclusion was that the infrasonic sound could certainly be used as a devastating weapon, without a doubt. Subsequently, the French authority released a statement saying that neither themselves or Vladimir were working on a weapon system, and the matter of the infrasonic as a weapon went quiet. That was until a discussion of black noise came about David's and Boy's interview. Unlike white noise, which contains all frequencies, black noise is the absence of frequencies in sound. This article can be found right here on The Sound of Life. Now step outside the box for a bit and ask yourself, if we have black and white noise, what about the other colors and the colors that we cannot see? I guess only time will tell, making this Alice rabbit hole much more deeper. Hey, what rhymes with sharp? Tarp, carp. Do you know? I don't know. Yes, you do. I'll stamp this. More research needed.
If the IRS is apparently shutting down, why should we even bother filing our taxes?
I cannot believe the number of people, and this is nationally, who are TikToking and videoing and saying, you're stupid if you're going to pay your taxes because there's going to be no more IRS. So why bother paying the IRS? It can't go anywhere.
So this is the real tax guy, stating how we're going to pay for roads, schools. What did he say?
IRS can't go anywhere. The government get the money that we need for the services that are necessary for the government. Taxes. IRS is not going anywhere.
So let's say he's just ill-informed, because that's not true. It's actually completely not true, and it's been proven. None of the federal income tax goes to running your country. You hear what I said? None of your federal income tax goes to running the country. Not building roads, not infrastructure, not schools, not any of that. Don't believe me? Well,
do you remember what El Salvador President Bukele said about people paying taxes?
no. Oh, instead of attacking people, how about we just educate? Put out good information.
Sherry Peebles, she is an ex-IRS agent, CPA, fraud examiner. She was working for the IRS. She taught fast practices that she used, very numbers, numerous awards, all of the work she did, and she realized that there is no fraud, and the biggest fraud was the IRS. And this was this fraud of the Federal Reserve is not federal. How many people did not know before today that the Federal Reserve is the federal? Don't be shy. You didn't know before today that the Federal Reserve
you want to see that full video, we have the link on the website. I've done extensive research on Sherry Jackson and other whistleblowers like her. She is in my petition because she whistleblew against the government corruption. She was not only attacked, she was treated worse than a violent criminal in our criminal system. And I looked up her cases and saw what the federal government did to her. For this video, I hope this hits home for a lot of people. Because of this education, because how knowledgeable, because she knew it for a fact. She was teaching people in this class, this is why they got rid of her. I'm gonna read to you, she is in our petition, because I saw what they did to her. Let me explain real quick. When a criminal goes to court for multiple cases, this is what typically happens. In a shrunk down version. Say they have multiple charges. The prosecutor is gonna take the biggest charge, they're gonna either dismiss the other ones, or they're gonna run it what's called concurrent, meaning all the time is being served at the same time. For Sherry Jackson, they charged her with misdemeanors and sent her to federal prison for 4 years. Why? Because they charged her with 4 misdemeanors, gave her the maximum penalty on all 4, and stacked them. Meaning she had to complete 1 year, then start the 2nd year, then start the 3rd year, each time completing each one. Treating her like a heinous criminal, and she's just a government whistleblower. And I say, Sherry Jackson is a true American hero on dead serious. Now there is a counterpart to Sherry Jackson. This former IRS whistleblower. Now he's on the opposite spectrum. They tried to do the same and erase him, get him locked up. He beat his case because his superior on the stand could not prove there was a law that made the average American liable to pay federal income tax. He got his superior on the stand in 2005 because he couldn't admit it. He was acquitted of felony charges. No bullshit. Then the government goes ahead for 6 years, violates his 5th Amendment, takes those same charges because they couldn't convict him, because a jury acquitted him, because he got his superior on the stand to admit there is no law, fined him with 6 civil penalties using the same evidence. That is a violation of the double jeopardy of a 5th Amendment, and they still did it. 2 versions. And you want to hear the 3rd? Both Sherry Jackson and Joseph Bannister are in our petition because their life story speaks volumes in American patriotism, having courage, being a constitutionalist. We are focused on that, how to change the system from within. And I'm not playing that he beat his case. This is his attorney out of Austin. Jury acquits former IRS special agent of felony tax charges. You know why they acquitted him? Because they got his superior on the stand. I'm telling you guys. Everybody's looking for the case. Get this case, use it as your evidence. 2005. Wait, guys. This is how you end the IRS within the Constitution. You want to see? This is how you do it. This is how lawful constitutionalists, people who want to restore the constitutional republic, this is how you do it. You have to individually learn your rights. That's what a constitutional republic is. They're lying to everyone when they tell you you can vote back in. You have to have a well-informed population. That's why we're here to bring you education. But check this craziest 3rd part out. You think the part about Sherry and Joseph Bannister is pretty wild. Check this one. Most people have never heard of this. So you're gonna go right here to State Nationals Rock. You don't even have to be a member to fill out the petitions. Anybody can fill this out. So you go right here, State Nationals Rock, click the 3 bars at the top. It's gonna drop down like this. The petitions. You scroll down. We got a bunch of them. All kinds. This is the one that we're looking for. Click sign the petition. This is how you exercise your constitutional rights. If you want to see what it looks like like this. Go over the petition. Familiarize yourself. Unlawful transformation and taxation and financial slavery. You know that you're a debt slave? Well, guys, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are. But don't take my word for it. The Constitution framework for taxation is designed to be voluntary through consumption, not forcibly extracted through wages. See, through consumption, meaning if you smoke cigarettes, drink alcohol, they tax you based on your consumption. Never, ever was it supposed to be extracted through wages. You didn't know that? I'm going to show you right here in the Constitution. People want to say like, well, where does the Constitution grant taxation? All right here. 3. 1, 2, 3. So under Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, this is the type of tax that is allowed by the Constitution. Indirect, voluntary, and uniform. It means consumption. When you break all that down, it's literally talking about consumables, tobacco, alcohol. Oh, if you're going to get taxed, it's because you choose to buy these products. This is what the Constitution allows. There's 1. Now there's a second type that it allows. Portioned direct taxes. This is under Article 1, Section 9, Clause 4. This isn't really enforced because it has to be divided equally among the whole population. Isn't that crazy? So at one time, they tried to institute a tax on wages. They did. They tried. They took it to court and everything. What happened? No income tax on labor. It was upheld in Cullen versus Farmers Loan Trust Company in 1895. Supreme Court ruled. So the Constitution was designed to limit taxing power of the federal government, not to expand it. Considering the founders had just fought a war over taxation without representation. Kind of like how they send our money overseas, guys, that is taxation without representation. They're not supposed to send $1 overseas. They only get away with it because you don't know your rights. That's the facts. Here's the crazy part. In 1913, supposedly the 16th Amendment, that's what they say. If you don't know, then that's what they say. The 16th Amendment, it granted them that power. However, Bill Benson's historic investigation documented the law that never was. It was never legally ratified. Many states rejected or altered the amendment in violation of Article 4 ratification procedure. So what he did is he went to every single state, he collected the certified documents from the government, and he figured it out. He went to every single state. You know what they did? They put an injunction on his book. They said he couldn't submit his evidence because it was too old. They put him in prison for it. You can read about him, you can read about Sherry Jackson, you can read about Joseph Bannister, and you can stand up for your constitutional rights and freedoms. Only you can exercise these rights. No politician, no voting, just you. Just your rights. This is your duty. Join the family. State Nationals rock. Be the change. Sign the petition. State Nationals, we rock.
Don't forget about this. This topic is really troublesome for many reasons. One reason in particular is because you cannot practice law without a license. Hey, remember the 40%? Anyways, I would love to see some debates from both sides. Sadly, people are people. It's not entertaining for them. Thus the reason of my 40-40-20. And my phrase, don't change people's reality, modify it. I'll just leave this here. Is it working? No? Baby steps. I'll stamp this. 40-40-20.
Logical. You know, if I know that in this hotel room they have food every day, and I'm knocking on the door every day to eat, and they open the door, let me see the party, let me see like them throwing salami all over I mean, just like throwing food around. But they're telling me there's no food in here. You know what I'm saying? Every day. I'm standing outside trying to sing my way in. You know what I'm saying? We are hungry, please let us in. We are hungry, please let us in. After about a week, that song is gonna change to we hungry, we need some food. After 2-3 weeks, it's like, you know, give me all the food, breaking out the door. And after a year, then you just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm picking the lock, coming through the door, blasting, you know what I'm saying? It's like you hungry, you reached your level, you don't want any more. We asked 10 years ago. We was asking with the Panthers. We was asking with them, you know, with civil rights movement. We was asking, you know, now those people that were asking, they're all dead and in jail. So now what do you think we're gonna do? Ask?
Doesn't it make sense? Imagine having the power of saying something and people listen. That scared many high-end people. Still to this day, many people respect this idol. He changed many people's lives from Hub City to around the world, even myself included. Here's something you didn't know about him. Makes you think, right? I got only one song in mind regarding this. Shed so many tears.
So if you want to make 6 figures, you can't just be talking about you want to make 6 figures. You hear what I'm saying to you tonight? If you do the 3 things I tell you to do tonight, I guarantee you, whatever it is you want to do in life, you'll be able to do. You will be able to accomplish whatever you want to academically, financially, relationally, whatever. So 3 things. All right, now I'm going to tell you the story. I got to get out of here. And the story is about, you guys have probably heard about this before. It was a young man who, you know, he wanted to make a lot of money, and so he went to this guru, right? He told the guru, you know, I want to be on the same level you are. And so the guru said, if you want to be on the same level I'm on, I'll meet you tomorrow at the beach at 4 a.m. Like, the beach? I said, I want to make money. I don't want to swim. Guru said, if you want to make money, I'll meet you tomorrow, 4 a.m. So the young man got there at 4 a.m. He all ready to rock and roll, down the suit, should have worn shorts. The old man grabs his hand and said, how bad do you want to be successful? He said, real bad. He said, walk on out in the water. So he walks out into the water. Watch this. When he walks out into the water, it goes waist deep. So he's like, this guy crazy. Adrian's like, I want to make money. He got a guy who's swimming. I didn't ask to be a lifeguard. I want to make money. He got me in. So he said, come on a little further. Walk out a little further. Then he had it right around this area. His shoulder area. So this old man crazy. He's making money, but he's crazy. He said, come on out a little further. He came out a little further. It was right in his mouth. My man like, I'm about to go back in here. This guy is mine. So the old man said, I thought you said you wanted to be successful. He said, I do. He said, walk a little further. He came, dropped his head in, held him down, hold him down. My man didn't scratch it, hold him down. I got you. I know you brushed it out, but I got you. He had him held down. I need you for an illustration. He had him held down. Just before my man was about to pass out, he raised him up. He said, I got a question for you. Somebody answer the question for me. He said, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? Lee, I'm looking for a different word though. What's that word? He said, I wanted to breathe. He told the guy, he said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. I don't know how many of y'all got asthma in here today, but if you ever had an asthma attack before, you short of breath, SOB, shortness of breath, you wheezing. The only thing you trying to do is get some air. You don't care about no basketball game. You don't care what's on TV. You don't care about nobody calling you. You don't care about a party. The only thing you care about when you're trying to breathe is to get some fresh air. That's it. And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And I'm here to tell you, number one, that most of you say you want to be successful, but you don't want it bad. You just kind of want it. You don't want it badder than you want to party. You don't want it as much as you want to be cool. Most of you don't want success as much as you want to sleep. Some of you love sleep more than you love success. And I'm here to tell you today, if you're going to be successful, you gotta be willing to give up sleep. You gotta be willing to work off for 3 hours of sleep, 2 hours. If you really want to be successful, some days you will have to stay up 3 days in a row. Because if you go to sleep, you might miss the opportunity to be successful. That's how bad you gotta want it. You gotta go days without, listen to me, you gotta want to be successful so bad that you forget to eat. Beyonce said once she was on the set doing her thing, 3 days had gone by, she forgot she didn't eat. Because she was engaged. I'll never forget when 50 Cent was doing his movie, I did a little research on 50, and 50 said that when he wasn't doing the movie, he was doing the soundtrack. And they said, when do you sleep, 50? Sleep? He said, sleep. Sleep is for those people who are broke. I don't sleep. He said, I got an opportunity to make a dream become a reality.
One day while searching my mixtapes for new music, I came across the Heart of Detroit album. It was not hip-hop, it was Eric Thomas. I'm glad that he infiltrated his album into a hip-hop mixtape app. This guru story I have modified depending on the environments or to make business owners understand what is their desire to succeed. I have taught this to so many people. Some became successful. Some just didn't listen. I think this will be a great tool for all of you if you know how to use it, all depending on your situation. I would like to say thank you, Eric Thomas, for the free knowledge, and hopefully many people will take advantage of this tool. Like Homer Simpson would say, for Jiva's sake, listen.
What on God's green planet did this woman capture on camera? Now look in the back, you'll see a light moving around the whole time during this video. The woman said she got out of her car and heard a dog barking. She looks over and there is something across the street with a flashlight. But it's not moving like a human, it's not moving like a dog. And whenever you zoom in on whatever the hell this thing is, it gets even creepier. She seriously thinks that this thing was trying to lure her over to it. And once she goes in the house, it just scurries away. Now here it is zoomed in. At first it looks like a person walking up with a flashlight. But then it drops down on all fours and runs over to like this little picnic table area. And this is slowed down. This thing is super fast. She thinks it's some sort of light beam, but I am not sure what this is. A lot of people are saying that it's a shapeshifter or a skinwalker, but whatever this is, it's not moving like a human being. It looks like one, but right here it's just morphing back and forth from a human to what looks like a dog. And then after she goes in the house, this is it walking away, and it gets on all fours and runs extremely fast. What do y'all think? Let me know.
This is what people call flashlight head. He's a close relative of siren head. They're mostly known to be around the red light districts, Tijuana, or Papas and Beer. Just kidding. For this one, I had to use the infrared ghost tube app for a quick heat signature. It showed a circle heat signature on his leg. Then I transferred it to my video editing software, and this is what I found. As you can see, I have to go back and forth, but you can see the heat signature on his leg, most likely a cell phone. Sneaky, sneaky. Run, bro, run! Yep, this is real, just like gravity. I'll stamp this. Mikey.
Why do you think that every state has a different set of laws? We have a common law, right? Federal and all that. But then we have state laws. That's where they got us. Because how can you drive a car or have a gun or all these other things? You need a license for them.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right? So it's in our Constitution, a right to bear arms. Why do I need a license?
Yeah, because there's no right to drive a car.
You have the right to travel.
Right. And this is why the cop stops you. I'm traveling my own capacity. I'm not driving. This is the scam system that we're in when it comes to the money, sovereignty, corporation. When you establish a corporation, it's a corporation that's, it's dead. It's a dead entity. This is how their magic works, right? So like it's on your dollars, symbolism, Freemasons use symbolism, all this stuff that we use today, it's all occult magic. Riverbank, current, sea. I need to be liquid in order to pay for this. So we're using language of sea because there's more of the sea than there is of the land. So it's maritime admiralty law. It's a law of the sea that governs everything. This is what this is based on. So when you're at birth and you're like a ship, a doctor delivers who you are, and your manifest is your birth certificate. Why do we need birth certificates? Because they trade on it. The IMF has a deal to where every driver's license, birth certificate, any kind of license, they trade on the open market. You're a stock. So this is why you have Social Security. They're paying you pennies on the dollar to what you're owed already.
And I know about with debt, let's say I owe $20,000 for like a payment. Once I defer it, it gets to a point where people are just selling and buying my debt.
Yeah, so even with the credit system, so when they sell your debt, you're not responsible for that debt anymore. So when they call you, hey, someone's like, who are you? I don't have a contract with you. Somebody sold your debt, so hang up.
If I would have found out about Uber and how they were going to do it early on, based on the little information I know, I would have jumped all over this. Because I understand what a driver's license is. When you have a driver's license, that means you're operating in commerce. Right when I heard that they were doing it, I was like, fuck.
Yep.
It's absolutely 100% gonna go through, and they're not gonna be able to stop it because that's exactly what a driver's license is.
Why do you think we have to register our car with the state every year? Why do you have to know where my car is at any given time and know the information and this and that? So if you park in a red zone, that's what they can do. They can tow your car. You own the loan, or you're paying on the loan. Some stranger can just pick up your material.
They're using the statutes to manipulate the law.
Right, UCC, Uniform Commercial Codes. This is all part of the system. So when they put, a UCC lien on you, or they can dip into your account, and that's the thing. People really think they own shit, but they don't.
Yeah.
Are you trying to say that when I finish the last payment of my house, I will need to pay no more fees? What would happen if I have a land patent? Would I get vested rights? I don't know. Looking for a friend for clarification. What will happen if my house becomes a cemetery? Do I have to pay property taxes? Google says yes. I guess my YouTube certification is not qualified enough to understand this mathematician hippopotamus lingo. Like the great poet Michael Bisping once said to Luke Rockhold.
Ever read Conceive, Believe, Achieve. Shut the f*** up. Listen.
With that being said, anything is possible if you have the hunger to find the answers. I'll stamp this. More research needed.
Wait till the end. Shortly after her family moved into a new home, this little girl started having terrible night terrors. She would describe a demon-like creature crawling from under her bed. Then it would bite her over and over again. Her mother figured she was just having bad dreams until this happens.
Come on, you big girl. Okay. There's the vent right there, baby. See? The vent pushes the door. You're fine, okay? You big girl? You're scared, just remember. Baby Lenny's here, Mommy's here. We're all gonna be together in the same house. It's gonna be okay. Let's go to bed. What's wrong, Cora? Sweetie, what are you afraid of? You're scaring me, honey. I don't see anything.
The simple fact of her recording the floor the majority of the time, making sure her daughter is okay, makes this more believable. I did pass it through a ghost tube app for a quick negative. Here's what I found. I guess the stick figure is somehow lining up with the counter and the bed frame. Then I noticed the wall picture frame. I enhanced it and it seems it was a Greek style vintage frame. But it didn't make sense to have a vintage picture frame because of the small age of the girl. So most likely is a school feather art frame. I did hear the mom say Kora, which is a Greek word for daughter. So I got more confused and decided to put it through my editor. This is what I found. I was going back and forth, trying to find the proper filter for it. I do understand there's a reflection on the glass window before the shutters close. The crazy thing is that I cannot explain the shutter. There's specific shutter that bend going upwards. So I put multiple filters on it. And even at one point I stacked them. I have to go back and forward, back and forward. There's a shadow cast on the wall, which is most likely because of the light. The only thing I cannot explain is that bending of that shutter, moving upward. I mean, you have to push it up in order for it to be distorted, so it can bend that way. Get a closer look on it, basically, so you can see what I mean. See that shutter right there? With filter, without filter. something makes that shutter bend upward. And there's a glass in the back. So there's no tomfoolery, somebody pushing something, or it's cannot explain it. Let's start stacking the filters so you can see a little bit more different colors. I mean, I'll stamp this. Possible.
Everyone knows Linkin Park, one of the biggest rock bands of the 2000s. But what if the name isn't just a name? There are claims about a place in Canada tied to experiments from the era of MK Ultra, children, psychological testing, allegedly. Then you have Chester Bennington, frontman of Linkin Park, who openly spoke about being as a child. Now here's where it shifts. There were rumors he was working on a documentary in 2017, The Silent Children, a project allegedly exposing hidden elite networks. And he wasn't alone. Chris Cornell, close friend, same space, May 2017. Cornell takes his own. 2 months later, Chester takes his as well. Then it expands. World-famous DJ Avicii, who was involved in the Silent Children documentary, also took his. Travel documentarian Anthony Bourdain, you figured, took his just a few months later. This is the global symbol of PDF files as uncovered by the FBI, called the B logo. This is Linkin Park's band logo. Were they trying to expose the elite's rings before their frontman, who had some insider insights, tragically passed? And every time people connect the dots, they're told it's nothing. But if it's nothing, why does it all line up?
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Allegedly, suppressed information about all this is classified. Allegedly, people get blackballed just for talking about this. The rabbit hole on this is so deep, you start seeing spider webs. And a spider might bite you if you're not careful. All I gotta say about this is, thank you all for your time being here. We still haven't forgotten, and we're still searching for the truth and justice. Crazy thing, I look at my watch, and it says 11:11. I guess I'm on the right path. There's no stamp video on this one, only thing. But if I have to name 2 songs, it will be Be Yourself and The Little Things Give You Away. Again, thank you for your time being here.
In Shaw, color therapy. This is a deep rabbit hole. The government burned his books. In the 1950s, Dinshaw realized that if you put different colors in front of the person, you could heal them based on the color that they are missing. So whether it be red, yellow, green, purple, any of those color spectrums, he had a special machine that he would place in front of the person based on their ailment. So let's say they had a headache. He would put the color red in his machine, they would sit in the sun, the red would go through into the eyes, which absorb all of the color spectrums, and then they would begin to get rid of that headache. Now, let's say they had some sort of stomach issue where they didn't feel good. They would put the color blue. He would sit in front of the sun, the color blue would go through the eyes, get rid of the stomach issue. So the government burned Dinshaw's books. Think about that. On color therapy, that's a dangerous threat. The government burned his books on color therapy because it worked so well. He understood that every single disease could be resolved with color therapy. That's it. And think about, if you think about food or something that you drink out of or something that you wear, the clothing of the material or the color of the material that you wear, there's also a frequency coming from this. So if you're having a blue day, you might want to wear the color blue to uplift your day. If you're feeling like you want to have a lot of energy, you might wear the color red. If you're feeling like you want to open up the crown chakra, you might want to wear the color purple. All of these colors represent all different types of meridian lines in the body. And that's what Dinshaw's work was, which absolutely amazing. Like I said, when you get into colors and you get into spectrums of light, You know, you get into so many things. Even if you think of like cathedrals, stained glass windows, color spectrums right there. Color spectrums. You walk into a cathedral, you see stained glass windows, you see all the different colors, usually 7. All those different color spectrums are going into the body, absorbing through the eyes, healing the body. They didn't just pick these colors by chance. Like you see, you go through, you know, if you want to go through the chakra system, which are vortices, you go down the body, you have all these vortices, they all connect down here, they're all different colors, you got white all the way at the top as well too. All of these colors are symbolizing how the body works. And all you're doing with color therapy is you're healing the body, utilizing color. Like, that's why they block out the sun. They get rid of one color so that you just keep getting the same color spectrum, so you go mad.
Well, we talk about color therapy in this video, but I wanted to show you this one. Now think, why do some famous A-listers wear color glasses all the time? Well, for looks, obviously. I'll stamp this. More research needed. On to next.
Florida testing finds triple-digit levels of weed killer chemicals in popular bread brands. You can see the results and the toxin levels here. We are talking brands like Nature's Own and Dave's Killer Bread, Wonder Bread, Sara Lee, and Pepperidge Farms. So the reason why I'm pointing this out, and the reason why I think it's so amazing that Florida did this testing, is because the risk to Americans in regards to these chemicals, it is significant even if you do not live in a rural area. If you are not a farmer or a landscaper, if you don't live or work near industrial plants, it is in our bread. It is in the bread that everyday Americans are buying for their kids, making peanut butter jelly sandwiches on. If you're not making, homemade sourdough with your freshly ground wheat, like this is what Americans are ingesting on a daily basis. And you might think, oh, well, I eat organic, it's totally fine. No, I also fear for those of us who eat almost exclusively organic. Like, we are also not in the clear. Alex Clark, who was one of the biggest MAHA advocates, who truly walks the walk in terms of her diet and her lifestyle, she just tested how much glyphosate is in her body, and the results are crazy. To piggyback off of yesterday's bombshell glyphosate hearing in Florida, here is my recent lab work showing how much glyphosate is in my body as somebody who eats all organic. This is a neurotoxin that Americans cannot escape from in our soil and our water. It does not wash off produce. It is a known carcinogen. And then here are her results if you want to look at that. What she is showing, and what Casey DeSantis in the state of Florida is showing, those are the impacts of these chemicals that these corporations want to hide from. That is why they are so desperate to get these liability shields.
That is one of the reasons why I stopped buying bread and started making my own bread. Guys, it's not hard to make your own sandwich bread. All you need is desire to make it. It tastes better, it's easy to make, it lasts you 2 weeks, by then it's gone, and you don't have to worry about so many additives and stuff. You just need desire. My next goal is to make my own flour and see the benefits compared to Arrowhead Mills flour. Allegedly, same-day meal flour gives you more nutrition. I do wish rankings like this will be more frequent in some states. Lucky for us, we have social media to report the unfiltered news. I'll stamp this. Careful.
How true it was when Nietzsche said, "He who sees too much ends up not fitting in anywhere." That's the curse of awareness. Once you start seeing beneath the surface, the world no longer seems simple. You notice the games people play, the fake confidence, the hidden motives. You begin to realize that society is built on layers of lies, and that most people move like sheep. You can't unsee it. And when you speak up, people tell you you're overthinking, but they're delusional. So you stop talking and start observing. And because of that, you stop believing. Not because you're better than anyone else, but because you finally understand what's going on. You see everything, and you just can't be part of it. Awareness isolates you, but that's the price of clarity. You might lose the crowd, but you'll find yourself.
That's the gift in it. You choose your own path from this point moving forward. You still have time to stop watching my videos and return to the masses. But if you're a thinker like me, welcome. And we will all learn together. It reminds me of a story from back in the days. I remember making line to cross the border from Tijuana to the US. Seeing this lady sitting in the floor, with uneven attire, purple sweats and yellow shirts. She looked like the Lakers, her hair was a little bit messy. No makeup, no nothing. I was getting my $20 ready to give it to her when all of a sudden there was this gentleman that walks and gave her a crunchy taco, just a bean taco tortilla, and gave her to her, and she was smiling and eating the taco, having a conversation with him. She was happy to eat that taco, that crunchy taco. After I got close enough to her, I gave her money. She grabbed it fast. She said thank you, but returned back to have a conversation with that person while enjoying that crunchy taco. During my drive coming back to LA, that bugged me. I didn't understand why she was unfazed, unmoved. And I thought to myself, what would happen if I give a crunchy taco to one of the girls over here? They'll slap it right off, right? That woman that I seen sitting, she didn't care about makeup, hairstyle, fashion, cell phone, nothing, zero. Her main concern was hunger, was that specific taco. For that moment, that taco was everything to her. And it bugged me. Other similar occasions happened, which I will talk about those in later videos. But that specific Tijuana incident started opening my eyes a little bit more. But if I can say what started this with me, not sure, but I do remember the first occasion. It was a video from System of a Down. The song name is Sugar. The beginning intro, you have a newscast basically saying something like this. Imagine there's a incident down the street and you see it in the news. You never heard it, you never seen it, but the news told you there was an incident. So let's say your friends or your partner, your girlfriend or wife or whatever, you tell them, hey, look at the news. Something happened 2 blocks away. That's crazy. But you never seen it. You never heard it. You just got that from the news. But you believe it's the truth. So that Sugar intro was not the beginning, but it was one of the initial ones. Anyways, if you like this type of videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It does wonders to the channels. And again, see you until next time. Have a blessed day.